What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with a Destiny 2 update. Of course it is Thursday, so we get This Week at Bungie, as well as a few additional interview tidbits from Luke Smith regarding the upcoming D2 expansion Beyond Light. So initially, he gives us a little bit of useful information about Transmog. We'll touch on that as well as a couple of teasers, but then Bungie jump in with the TWAB. They talk about progression changes, adjustments to Pinnacle gear and the soft cap, as well as powerful reward changes, adjustments to tokens and collections, various materials in the game, as well as bounties, and the season pass. So there are some pretty important things to talk about there. But then they've got some additional changes coming to vendors, including the spider, a couple of Eververse things, as well as a list of items that'll be going out of our inventories. So plenty to take on board inside of this video, guys. And if you do enjoy it or find it useful, a rating below very much helps me out. But now, let's get into it. First up today, a couple of interesting things to point out, but Luke Smith did an interview with Twitch Gaming, and there were a couple of particularly interesting sections. So initially for Europa, he suggested that Dreaming City and the way that some of that content was delivered, and especially the kind of intrigue that they managed to build with the destination, was kind of a target for what they wanted to do with Europa, but of course they are doing it in some slightly different ways with things like the weather system. A very important note though, on the subject of Transmog, he said he couldn't give us a massive amount of details, but they can say that Transmog will remember armor we have in the game right now. Essentially meaning we'll be safe to delete any armor that we don't actually want in terms of stats and perks or stuff that's taking up vault space. And then any stuff that we own at the moment will be recognized by that Transmog system. So essentially actual versions of armor being kept in the vault won't be necessary if you're only holding them for the cosmetic value. In terms of precisely when Transmog is going to come into the game, we're going to have to wait and see. But it's a positive detail for now, and it may save you a little bit of vault space. Otherwise though, he did further kind of tease that there will be future darkness subclasses or additional subclasses, which just kind of match what we can see in the UI on that character screen. But he added as well, in answer to a question about the scale of the expansion, that frankly, it won't be as big as Forsaken was. And with Bungie's current setup, and the point in the life cycle of the game, he said that it's fairly unlikely that we'll see an expansion at the same scale as what we had with Forsaken. But he does add that Beyond Light is distinctly larger than one we had with Shadowkeep, essentially meaning we should be looking at the second largest expansion that we've had in Destiny 2's lifecycle, and obviously the quality is critically important as well. So just a few interesting questions that he answered in that Twitch Gaming section, and I'd love to get any thoughts from you guys down below. Jumping into the TWAB section, though, we start to get even more useful information, and they speak initially about progression changes. So they say the start of any Destiny expansion begins with a power climb as you experience the campaign and play through the story missions. After finishing that up and completing some additional quests and activities, you're usually around what we call the soft cap, and we need to start earning powerful rewards to continue to increase power, so you can tackle some of the more aspirational activities. After we reach hard cap, of course, there is then an additional plus 10 power you can earn through earning pinnacle rewards if you choose to hit the pinnacle cap. And so these are the power caps starting next season on November 10th. The soft cap will be 1200, the hard cap is going to be 1250, and then pinnacle will be 1260. But in terms of powerful reward changes, they say there's been a lot of feedback from players for more opportunities to earn powerful rewards from activities enjoyed most. And they have a change coming that will allow players to earn powerful rewards from Strikes, Gambit, Crucible, and from seasonal drops all the way up to the hard cap. It will still be much quicker to continue to complete powerful reward sources each week, but if you just want to play Strikes, Crucible, or things like that all day, you can continue to randomly earn powerful rewards. But for tokens and collections, they say D2 is at its best when you're shooting aliens, getting loot, and becoming more powerful. That gameplay loop breaks down when the best way to increase your power can be standing in the tower, handing tokens into Lord Shaxx. So starting next season, gear received from collections and turning in tokens is going to have a lower power level than it has in previous seasons. And gear earned through token purchases will be 20 power below your power level, and collection buybacks will be capped at 1050 power. So a bit of an adjustment right there to how gear is dropping in those kind of levels overall. And then for economy, they say that some currencies and items have changes coming either at the end of this season or in the near future, but these are things we can expect when we log in next season. So with several destinations going into the content vault, many of us have been wondering what's going to happen to the currencies found in the areas currently underneath the pyramids. And the simple answer is that there are no changes to these currencies in Season of the Hunt, and you'll be able to continue to spend them at vendors normally. But starting in Season 13, Phase Glass Needles, Alkane Dust, simulation seeds, and Seraphite will no longer be accepted by vendors. And for those of us who have unspent stockpiles at the end of Season of the Hunt, Spider will be kind enough to offer a small Glimmer exchange to take them off your hands. But realize that the best value we can get is to spend them before that point. So it's better to trade them in during Season 12 before they're kind of deprecated in Season 13. And they say as well that there will be other items removed from the inventory at the end of Season of Arrivals. Some things like faction tokens haven't had a purpose in quite a while, and then others like the expired ramen coupon never really had a purpose but held some sentimental value. We know that it might be hard to part with them, but it's time to let go, and they do have a list of all of the individual items that'll be taken out when Beyond Light launches in November, so definitely pay attention to that. However, here they speak about bounties, and they say that back in late April, they shared plans on how to tackle the problem of bounty fatigue, and they've made some shifts to seasonal bounties and reduced their importance on earning seasonal currency and progress. But one of the plans they reviewed was to eventually replace weekly bounties with a new mechanism to provide players with a set of non-expiring and account-scoped objectives each week that grant a lot of season rank progress. That was something they were hoping to get in at the start of Year 4, as they'd mentioned previously, but now the targeted release is going to be Season 13, so that big kind of milestone style shift to earning XP is something we'll have to wait a little bit longer for. And of course, other examples like Adept Trials weapons have been things that were brought forward sooner than what we'd anticipated, so it's one of them. There are ups and downs for sure. Give us your thoughts about it. But then for the Season Pass, they say that it will essentially stay largely the same as what we've had since Shadowkeep. But they are making a change and adding Bright Dust to the Season Pass, so the Season Pass free path will offer 7,500 Bright Dust, the Season Pass owned path will offer 3,000 Bright Dust, and weekly bounties will now award 100 Bright Dust. So there are going to be more ways to get more Bright Dust, which is always a positive. And they say most players will end up earning more Bright Dust than before. One of the goals is not to have a system that pushes you to try and grind out every weekly bounty on all 3 characters, but to simply make the currency more available. However, they do have more plans to improve how we get Bright Dust coming in Season 13. So once again, give us any thoughts that you have about that. But here, they talk about some vendor changes for the Spider, and initially, he's no longer going to be selling legendary shards, and this exchange was removed mainly because it was not seeing enough use, and particularly where compared to other exchange offers. It was an easy decision to free up the space for something much more interesting. And so in place of that, Spider will now sell enhancement prisms. They're going to cost 400 legendary shards per prism, and will only be able to purchase 3 per week. But they wanted to give players with higher balances a way to transmute legendary shards into something a bit more valuable. So that may be pretty useful right there, but they say they've taken another look at how Enhancement Core Exchange works and made some changes. So the ascending cost mechanism has been removed, and in its place, Spider will now sell 5 enhancement cores a day for a fixed price of 30 legendary shards each. While this does limit the number of cores you can acquire each day, they feel a consistent price is clearer, with less chance to accidentally spend large quantities of shards. I think that's a pretty good one as well. And they point out that it is also much cheaper overall, with the exception that you have to wait a little bit longer to get access to as many shards, right? So as always, give us your thoughts down in the comment section, and here they say finally, we've seen a few people wondering if you'll be able to equip the Ghost mod Speed Demon with other mods like Guiding Light with the new Ghost system. And they say they have good news, because we won't need to, and starting in Beyond Light, all sparrows, both legendary and exotic, will innately summon instantly, even without the Transmog preloader perk. And as a result, there will be no need for that Ghost mod to impact the functionality, so Speed Demon was not carried forward into the new system. They say if you're still driving around a sparrow with Transmog preloader, you can keep using it and it will work just fine, or you can pull it from collections again and get the 2 new perks. And newly created sparrows will no longer roll on Transmog preloader, so you have a chance to get yourself an extra perk and still retain that instant summon speed. Definitely another big positive right there. Kind of an unexpected change as well. Then here for Eververse, starting in Season of the Hunt, Bright Engrams will now contain all Eververse content from Season 1 to 3 seasons prior the current season. That will exclude event stuff, but for Season 12, Bright Engrams contain all content from Season 1 through 9, and for Season 13, they'll contain content from Seasons 1 through 10. There is an update for world activities, and when Beyond Light and Update 3.0 launches on November 10th, some world activities will be removed, so players should complete any activities and quests they have left and want to claim rewards from, including flashpoints, so weekly engrams should be claimed before November 10th, or they'll be removed, as well as all destination adventures and then world quests from Year 1 locations. So a bit of an update to those 3 things right there. and of course it's important to bear them in mind. Final major beat from the TWAB right here in particular though, being that on November 9th, immediately before the launch, we are going to have 14 hours of downtime, and that will start at 7 PM PST on November 9th and end on November 10th at 9 AM with the launch of D2 Beyond Light and Update 3.0. So bear in mind that pretty huge amount of downtime that we are going to see immediately before the launch. For today though guys, that's what we have to speak about in this Thursday TWAB video, so if you've enjoyed it and you want to stay up to date with the world of Destiny 2, feel free to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you can keep up to date. But if you've enjoyed this video, a rating below very much helps us out. Once again, drop us any of your thoughts down in the comments section. But for now, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.